Hello everyone, this is Live Life Well TV host Robert Landau, and this is another episode of Health and Wellness Tips here on Live Life Well TV. The topic of this episode, you know what? I don't care who you are, what your status in life is, how healthy you might be, whatever the story is, we all need a heaping dose of this episode's topic. The title of this topic for this episode happens to be How to Be a Positive Thinker. Stay tuned. All right, so let's begin. Our hope is that you will find a couple of things in this episode that you will take away from this episode to put to work, to put into good effect in your life, because we can give you some wonderful, helpful tips as to how to feel more up, more positive, more in the flow of things. But if you resonated with some of those during this episode but didn't take them out or away from this episode and use them as healing tools in your everyday life, then what's the point? The only one who can really help you feel better, even on a daily basis, is you. Yeah, there are lots of people around us who can tend to us and really work at putting a smile on our face, helping us to feel better physically, emotionally, spiritually, but we are the only ones who can regulate that, who can open the door to that, or more of it, and then sort of ride on the crest of that wave. So, with that in mind, let's begin. I'd like to offer you a definition of what a positive thinker is. And if I asked you that question, what would you say a positive thinker is? And if you asked me that question, here's how I would answer that. Somebody who is vibrant, somebody who understands what it is to be happy, even if they might not be happy at this very moment in time. Somebody who wants to strive for what is the best in life. In other words, to make themselves better each and every day. To me, also, a positive thinker is somebody who lives to be of service to others, knowing that in helping others, to even smile maybe, or just being good company for others, or to console others, to give of one's heart to others. Well, when you do that, you get back double in return. A positive thinker to me is also somebody who happens to know the value of a sense of humor and who hopefully has a good sense of humor. A positive thinker is somebody who understands that life and the happenings in life doesn't always mean and don't always mean that you need to remain down for long periods of time. A positive thinker loves themselves enough to want to get up off the chair of depression, that wants to get up off the chair of sadness, that wants to get up off the chair just to start doing something else to start to feel just a little better. Understand that wanting to be more of a positive thinker doesn't mean that when you start to do stuff to help yourself to feel better, that things are going to change in an instant. The road to being a positive thinker is all about the journey and not the destination. Because if you start to feel better and take a small, tiny step forward in that direction, you create the biggest wave of change. So, how do you do that? Well, there are many wonderful ways, but before I even get into that question for you, on a scale from 1 to 5, how much of a positive thinker do you think you are most times during the day. On a scale from 1 to 5, 5 being, oh my goodness, nothing brings me down. I am the definitive definition of a positive thinker. Or number 1, which signifies, oh my goodness, I'm so down. I am just so negative right now, in general. On a scale from 1 to 5, where would you rate yourself right now? And understand that that scale changes, because some days we can wake up and be a 2. Other days we can wake up and feel like we're a 5.5, while other days we're 1 or below. Where are you right now? And if you didn't say a 5, well, here are some tips that might help. But you know what? Even if you did say you're a 5, when you start to get a little lower than that, as you probably will sometime, these tips will also help. So, with that in mind, here's a simple 4-step process to help you to be a better positive thinker, or just to help you be a positive thinker. Step number one, be aware that you need to be more positive. Awareness is the key to opening the door up to positivity. If you're not aware that you might need a little boost, a little lift in that destination, direction, then it won't happen. So number 1, be aware. Number 2, decide to do something about your negative, somewhat downtrodden state. So number 1, yeah, I'm aware I could be a better positive thinker. And number 2, I'm going to decide to do something about it. Those 2 steps will open the door to you to receive more of a lift, a positive vibe, if we will, in your life. Number 3, if you asked me what is the main cause to feeling down, to not feeling that you're much of a positive thinker, it's our mind chatter. Meaning, it's the way that we choose to talk to ourselves within ourselves. That can often be very negative. Most of us don't even hear that we're talking to ourselves in a negative way because we're just not keyed into that. We're so used to that that we're not aware that we are doing a great disservice to us. An example of mind chatter, if we see some people that are real happy on TV, and we're sitting there watching this in our living room, and we've just had a terrible day, a terrible week, a terrible month, or maybe even a terrible year. So we very likely would say in ourselves, within ourselves, chatter, talk that nobody else can hear but you. It's not even audible. It's kind of silent, but you can hear it within yourself. And it might go something like this in the scenario that I just painted for you, presented to you. Oh, well, those people seem to be real happy on TV. They're laughing. They're celebrating joy. They're celebrating the gift of life. I wish I could do that. Nothing ever good happens to me. Or, today was such a terrible day. It couldn't get much worse. There is just no hope. That's negative mind chatter. Who creates that negativity in your life? Who creates that stress in your life? Hello? You do. And there's nothing terribly wrong with that if you're aware that you're doing that. Because if you're aware that you're doing that, you can start to feel much better and point the scale back into positivity by knowing that you're doing that to yourself and changing it. That's actually the next step. Or actually, that's really part of step 3. Change negatives into positives. Change negative mind chatter into positive mind chatter. So again, step number 1 on the way to becoming a more positive person is be aware that you want to do that. Be aware that you're often negative. Number 2, decide to do something about that. Number 3, change negative mind chatter statements into positive mind chatter statement. So in the scenario that I just presented to you before, that change would sound something like this. So again, the negative mind chatter was, oh my God, those people are so happy on TV. That just depresses me even more because I'm not happy. Changing that to, oh, those people are happy on TV. You know what? I'm going to choose that too. Maybe not in the way they're doing it on TV, but in small ways that I can do it because I deserve to feel better. And I am going to do something about that right here, right now. It takes the same amount of energy to think negatively than it does to think positively. It's always a choice. It's a choice that you make. Here's the final step in becoming more of a positive person. Move on after you've done that negative to positive process. Go on to the next thing. Don't dwell on it. So here's what everything would look like. You're sitting there watching TV and you see everybody being so happy and laughing and loving and sitting at a dinner table during Thanksgiving and having a wonderful Thanksgiving meal. And your negative mind chatter while you're sitting there says to you, and you're saying this to yourself, oh my God, they're so happy. Why can't I be happy? I'm always sad. I don't deserve to be happy. My life just isn't worth it. This is terrible. I've had a terrible week. Be aware that you just did that, and then take the steps to change it, even if you have to fake it till you make it. So that would look like, okay, those people are happy on TV. That makes me sad, but I'm going to not sit here and remain sad. I'm going to change negatives into positives. So how would you do that? Well, one of the biggest ways to do that is to change it to positive mind chatter, but also distract your brain. Stop the negative mind chatter by doing something else. Get up, get out of your apartment, do a puzzle downstairs, be part of an activity, watch something fun on TV that makes you laugh, like I Love Lucy or whatever it might be. Have some ice cream, listen to some of your favorite tunes, call a family member who always brings you joy. You don't need to sink in the mud of negativity. You are the one who needs to bring positivity to yourself. Stop feeling like such a victim and get up and do something positive for yourself. I am telling you, you're going to feel so much better. Don't wait for life to change. Change your life now. Here are some of the benefits of positive thinking, of doing positive things. Science has proven that you increase your lifespan by choosing to be positive. Choosing to be positive also gives you lower rates of depression, lower levels of distress, greater resistance to the common cold. I'm not making this up. This is all based on recent studies that have to do with scientific fact. Better psychological and physical well-being. Better cardiovascular health and reduce risk of death from cardiovascular disease. All of this starts with you in bringing more joy, happiness, and positivity in your life. That's how you become a positive thinker. Another benefit, better coping skills during hardships and times of stress. So, check yourself to make sure that you're on the right track from time to time. Be open to humor. Humor is one of the best ways to convert negativity into positivity. Follow a healthy lifestyle. Eat better. Eat things that are good for you. You don't have to do that 100% of the time, but do it in small ways, and I guarantee you your body will start to wake up and thank you for starting to be better with it in mind. Surround yourself with positive people. They're out there. You just got to find them. Stay away from those that don't breed positivity, that don't have joy and happiness in their hearts. Positivity is contagious, but so is negativity. Which one do you choose on a daily, not even daily, but hourly basis? And finally, practice positive self-talk. Like this: you know what? I'm not going to let that get me down. Yeah, I feel terrible. I feel hurt. I feel angry. I feel scared. I feel hopeless. I feel like a victim, but fine. Next. Acknowledge that you're feeling negative. Just don't choose to stay there in that quicksand of mud to where you start to drown in it. You start to sink in it. You are the one who can pull yourself out. And the way to do that is just choose to be more positive. It sounds ridiculously simplistic, but you know what? That stuff works. We've outlined some of the ways to do that. I'm sure you can find many, many more. Care about yourself enough to do it. Care and love yourself enough to do this for yourself. Because you know what? There's plenty of help out there for you. But if you don't choose to help yourself, what's the point? You are a positive thinker. You were born that way. But the issue is, throughout life, we tend to forget things that we really do need to remember. We remembered it when we were kids. Look at babies, look at toddlers. They're always so joyful. They laugh, they celebrate the moment. What happened to that? There is still a child alive within you. Bring it out. Bring it out. Reconnect with who you really are. That's positive thinking. It doesn't help to be a positive thinker. It helps to be a positive doer. So do it. Aren't you worth it? This has been Robert Landau, Live Life Well TV host, with another episode of Health and Wellness Tips. Thanks so much for tuning in.